Hi, I'm Janet Gallen-Murkowski,
Hi, and I'm Melanie Pfleger.
and we are rebooting Yoga, Chocolate, and Chitchat.
Yay!
Woo! We took a year off. We took a very necessary mental break.
Yes.
Year off. And we're back. So, just so you guys know, we reserve the right to talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be yoga related. Even though I own and run Pro Yoga and Fitness, and Melanie is my right-hand person who teaches there, does private sessions, and takes care of some of the business end as well. So even though we do that and we're using that platform for this viewing, streaming, whatever you want to call it, we reserve the right to talk about anything. So Melanie does not know what the topic is today. It's organic, something that came to me. So she's finding out with y'all what we're going to discuss. And
okay, here we go.
it's going to be, we're going to talk about visits from loved ones who have passed. And the reason that today this is going to be the topic is because my mom visited me last night. For those of you who don't know, my mom passed away in 2016, and she has made a lot of visits to me in my dreams, which I absolutely love. And they're prophetic almost, foretelling. They're kind of, she's sometimes alluded to things that haven't quite happened yet. Sometimes it's always something that is verifiable, that it's like she could only know these things through it really being her in the afterlife. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about what I believe sparked her visit. So there was a recent passing in my family, which was very reminiscent of losing my mother. And so when I was talking about a family member, about what it's like to have a relationship with a loved one on the other side, I said one of the things that made me happy was that my mom could see why I may have behaved in certain ways that either she didn't understand or agree with. So to me, sometimes like our earthly bodies and minds can get in the way of having a deeper understanding of what's really going on with the person. And I always felt that, like, when she goes through her life, when she reviews her life through her omniscient vision that she now has, she could see all angles. And she could see that even maybe when she perceived me to be being difficult, she could see that either I was really suffering or that mostly that I was suffering from something, right? And that gave me peace. So this conversation literally happened like a couple days ago. And last night I dreamt that she came to me and said, I am sorry for, and I'm not going to say, name drop anything, but I'm sorry for an incident that happened when I was like in 7th grade. Yeah. She was apologizing to me about something that she perceives as maybe not doing right by me, her child, in 7th grade. And I woke up and remembered, and my mind was blown.
That's crazy.
My mind was blown mostly because I haven't thought about that situation in a really long time. Not that long, I would say several years, but without getting into specifics, she was basically acknowledging that giving this person access to me, she was wrong about them. She had misjudged them, and that she's sorry. In my opinion, she's sorry that she put me in an uncomfortable situation, a situation that wasn't meant for me. And
Wow.
yeah, I know I'm hitting you guys up hard. I know.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know.
So she's coming to you to kind of, she's from heaven. She's trying to let you know that she wasn't a perfect mom all the time. And she's realizing that, but she wants you to know that she did the best that she knew how to do.
Yes.
Right?
Which is crazy because I wouldn't, like, when I think of things that I would consider to be infractions to our relationship, it's not something that would be at the top of the list, even close. So I had to sit with that for a while and think, why would she choose this specific incident with this specific person? And I just got my hair done. My hairdresser said, because she knows things now that you don't know.
Yes.
She knows things about that person now that she didn't know.
But she knows
And,
now.
and that, right, and that
Looking
I don't
down.
even know now, because we're talking decades. So
Yes.
she can review her life with omniscient glasses and be like,
Excuse me.
ooh,
Yes.
ooh, that was, I'm really sorry. And my earthly self, thinking, yeah, but nothing really bad came of it. She knows. She knows. And I was like,
That is so crazy, but it's so amazing that you always get these little messages from your mom. That's so beautiful.
thank you.
It is. It's beautiful because
Thank
it makes losing somebody is horrific, right? But when we can get those little signs and signals that they're there, and they're with us. Yeah.
These little heavenly glimpses, you know, they're just like these little glimpses of heaven that are just enough at just the right time to say there's so much more.
Right.
Right? Like, there's so much more. You don't see it. I see it.
Right.
I love you. You can't see it.
Right.
But I see it.
And I think too, you have to be, like, I always wondered, I didn't get a lot of signs, but I think you have to be open to them too. And I think when you're not ready and you're not open to them, then they don't appear to you as much as when you're ready for them to come through.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more likely to get them when I'm under the weather, because I was under the weather a few days and I don't really do a lot. So I think that I'm telling you, so I'm going to skip for my sentence. There was a time period where this was like over 10 years ago, my grandma came every single month in my dreams, and I was going through something medically that was challenging, and I feel like that was her way of letting me know, like, I'm here. But I feel like when I'm under the weather, when I'm more inward focused,
Right. That's when it comes.
Sometimes, but then other times you
it
could be in your busy life and you'd be like, what the hell?
How did that happen?
We should tell them about, if you want, the visit that, if you're okay with this, I'm putting her on the spot, but I'll cut this part if she doesn't like it. When Tim visited you and me at night, in one night, you had a visit, and I called you up the next day, and you were like, I had a visit. And I was like, oh my God, he took me on a date to McDonald's.
That's right, he took you to McDonald's.
Yes.
So so my son passed away 17 months ago. 32 years old, very traumatic, as you can imagine. And I didn't get a lot of signs from him, but the first real dream I had was I dreamt that he came home from work and he came into the kitchen like he always did, put down his lunchbox, and I heard, "Hey, Mom." And I like turned around and I was like, "You're back. Oh my gosh, you're back." And he like looked at me and said, "What do you mean I'm back?" And I said, "You're here, you're back." And he said, "Yeah, God said I could come back because he felt like you needed me to come back and you need a hug." And when I tell you, it was the most real, amazing, my son was a big dude, so it was a real, like, heavy, full Tim big dude hug. I felt every minute of it. And he just said, God said you needed me. And I remember then he said, "Okay, I have to go. Don't cry." He would say 3 things to me all the time. "Don't feel guilty, because I'm a mom and I feel guilty. Don't be sad. And I'm okay," right? So he left. And I woke up and I remember I was crying in my bed, but it was the first time I really felt. And then I share with Janet, and she shares with me that she had a dream that Tim took her to McDonald's.
So it was crazy because I woke up and I was like, "Oh my God, I had a dream about Tim." And she was in it, her husband was in it, and we were at McDonald's. And it was a date. Okay? Like, in my mind, I was like, this is a date. But his dad was there and Melanie were there. So it like kind of wasn't. But it was more about the feeling, and the feeling I got was that he approves of me. And I know that in my mind a lot of times I'd only met him a few times and spent a little bit of time with him, but I did wonder, like, if I don't want to say, like, if he sees that I'm there for her. Like, does he see that I'm there for her? Like, literally, I'd just be like, does he, and not only that, does he approve? Like, because I'm sure he's a very protective son, very protective of his family, and so in my mind, it's like, am I pure enough? Are my intentions good enough that he would see it, he would know, and approve of me? And so we had this moment. I called her in the morning, I video chatted her, FaceTimed her, and the first thing I said was, "How did you sleep last night?" Because I was going to tell her about my thing. She opened up with, "Tim visited me last night," and I didn't get to go yet, and so I was like, "Oh my God, he was making his rounds."
Yes.
He was making his rounds.
Yes.
Again, I didn't really have a strong relationship with him, and I had not had any dream encounters with him. So I asked her, I said, "Well, I have a question for you." I told her my side, and I said, "Did he ever work at McDonald's?" And sure enough,
it was his first job. He worked at McDonald's all through high school, and then when he was in college, going to college, he was the assistant manager of McDonald's. Yes.
Yeah. So that was the validation that I needed, because I didn't know that he worked at McDonald's, that he was I was in his McDonald's era with him. Yeah, if I knew you back then, I would have had you, my mom, and my dad
Excuse me.
come into McDonald's and eat. So
it was amazing. And there's been a few other little so like we just adopted a dog, and I have Tim's firefighter coat on a chair in my house. It just sits there. I haven't washed it. It's just there. And we only had the dog a few hours, and she jumped up on the chair on the coat and made herself a little ball and just hung out there. And I didn't see her, but my daughter did. My daughter was like, "Mom, Trixie's on Tim's coat." And by the time I ran in there, she had jumped down. But I felt like that was a sign that he was glad that Trixie came to us, because he knew Trixie would bring me comfort. So that was kind of my most recent, I think, sign from him. Yeah.
So thank you for watching our first episode back. If you have anything you'd like to hear, any like questions that you have maybe about what we just talked about, or just any topics you'd like to hear our thoughts on in general, please subscribe to our channel so you get notifications when we have new videos coming up. And if we get 50 subscribers, we could stream live. So you will get our Yoga Chocolate and Chit Chats directly as they're happening, so we won't have any cuts. But we would love to be able to bring them to you in that way. So thank you for watching this far.
Thank you so much.
And
It's so nice to be
I
back.
think we're gonna try to do one a month.
Okay.
That's our goal, is
Yeah.
to drop one a month. But if we could do more than that, we will.
All right. It's so nice to be back.
Mwah. Have a good week.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye.
That's fun.